Sometimes God's protection looks like pain. You pray for things to work, for people to stay, for doors to open. And when everything starts falling apart, you wonder if heaven ever heard you at all. But what if the chaos wasn't punishment? What if the ending was an answer disguised as silence? There are moments when God's mercy comes in forms we can't yet recognize. And sometimes, mercy sounds like distance. He sees the hearts you can't read. He hears the conversations I never know about. He knows what is waiting down the path you thought was perfect. So he interrupts. Removes. Reductor. And in that moment, it hurts. Because we confuse comfort with safety. We think peace means keeping everything familiar. But sometimes, peace requires separation. And when God removes something from your life, He's not being cruel. He's being careful with your soul. There's a side of protection that doesn't feel like blessing until much later. The job that didn't work out. The friend who suddenly grew distant. The opportunity that slipped away just when you were ready. At first, it feels like rejection. But if you look closer, it was redirection. Because your peace is precious to Him. Too precious to let it be destroyed by what you were willing to settle for. He knows the exhaustion behind your prayers. The nights you cried because you didn't understand. The ache of wanting to hold on to what was only meant to pass through. And maybe that's why He stepped in. Not to punish you, but to protect you. To guard your mind from what would have broken your heart. To restore your focus on what truly matters. You see, what God removes isn't rejection, it's release. Release from confusion. Release from weight you were never meant to carry. Release from things that were quietly stealing your peace. You may not understand it now, but there's peace on the other side of every closed door. There's purpose behind every goodbye. There's protection behind every silence. Psalm 34:14 says, "Turn away from evil and do good. Seek peace and pursue it." Sometimes, God has to take something away so you can finally pursue what He's been trying to give you. Peace that doesn't depend on circumstances. You asked for joy, so He removed what made you anxious. You asked for clarity, so He silenced what kept you confused. You asked for strength, so He took away the things that kept you weak. And even when it feels like He's far, He's close. He's working quietly in the background, closing one door while preparing another, because what you lost was never meant to stay. And what's coming is designed for who you're becoming. Maybe this is the season where God hides you, where He pulls you away from people, plans, and places that no longer fit the person He's shaping inside of you. It's not isolation, it's insulation. He's not punishing you. He's protecting what's still growing. Think about it. Before peace comes stillness. And before stillness comes surrender. He removes to make room. He pauses your plans to rewrite His promise, because His version of your life always includes more peace than you would have asked for yourself. When God removes something, He doesn't take without giving. He doesn't subtract without purpose. He trades what is temporary for what is eternal. What you call loss, heaven calls exchange. You may not see it yet, but He's aligning your story with His peace. He's pruning the noise so you can finally hear His whisper. He's moving the pieces that don't belong so you can step into something that does. And even if your heart doesn't understand, your spirit knows. There's something sacred happening beneath the surface. Every ending is a hidden act of mercy. Every unanswered prayer is a quiet act of love. You're not being forgotten. You're being refined. You're not being punished. You're being positioned. God removes people who drain your peace because He knows who carries confusion in their presence. He allows silence because peace speaks louder than words. And He lets go of what you cling to because He knows what it would cost you to keep it. John 14:27 says, "Peace I leave with you. My peace I give you. I do not give to you as the world gives. Do not let your hearts be troubled and do not be afraid." That's not just a promise, it's protection. The world gives peace that depends on control. God gives peace that survives loss. So if something was removed, trust that it was never part of your eternal peace. You prayed for peace, but didn't know it would require pruning. You asked for blessing, but didn't realize it would begin with a goodbye. You begged for strength, but didn't expect it to come through surrender. And now, you're here, in the middle of what feels empty, but is actually sacred ground. Because God does his best work in what feels unfinished. So don't fight what he's trying to free you from. Even if your heart aches. Even if your plans collapsed. Even if your soul can't yet see the good in goodbye. You will. Maybe this season feels like an unraveling. You keep asking God why it had to end this way. Why you had to lose what you loved. Why you gave so much only to be left empty. But the truth is, endings are never punishment when God writes them. They are gentle beginnings, disguised as heartbreak. You may think you're standing in the ruins of something that failed. But heaven calls it rebuilding ground. God tears down what was never meant to last, so he can plant what will. And the soil of surrender is where his peace takes root. It's in the loss that you find his presence. It's in the silence that you learn his voice. And it's in the waiting that your faith becomes more than words. It becomes trust. Isaiah 26:3 says, "You will keep in perfect peace those whose minds are steadfast, because they trust in you." Peace isn't found when everything makes sense. It's born when you decide to trust anyway. You wanted answers, but he wanted your attention. You wanted clarity, but he wanted connection. Because peace isn't something God gives, it's who he is. And sometimes he removes everything else, so you'll finally see that he was all you ever needed. There's a strange beauty in divine interruptions. The things you lose make room for. The things that last. The love that left makes space for healing that stays. And the plans that died make way for promises that never will. You see, peace is the promise that pain can't cancel. No storm, no loss, no silence can erase it. Because peace isn't a condition, it's a covenant. It's the quiet assurance that even when you don't understand, you're still being held. Maybe that's why God took it. The relationship that exhausted your spirit. The opportunity that looked perfect but would have crushed your heart. The door that wouldn't open no matter how hard you knocked. Removed it not to hurt you, but to heal you. Because peace can't coexist with constant chaos. And deep down, you knew it. You felt the unrest, the unease, the warning that whispered, "This isn't peace." But you stayed, you hoped, you tried, until God stepped in with the kind of love that saves you from yourself. So if he's removing something, don't chase after it. Don't reopen what he closed out of mercy. Don't cling to what he's trying to replace with rest. Philippians 4:2-7 says, And the peace of God, which surpasses all understanding, will guard your hearts and your minds in Christ Jesus. That's not a temporary feeling. That's divine protection. Peace that guards you like a fortress. Peace that refuses to let anxiety win. Peace that reminds you that the absence of something is often the presence of him. Look back on the things you once begged for. How many of them turned into burdens? How many times did God's no save you from a lifetime of noise? You might not have noticed it then, but every unanswered prayer was grace in disguise. And maybe, even now, he's doing it again. He's quietly moving you out of what disturbs your peace. He's pulling you away from the counterfeit, so he can hand you the real. He's removing what drains you, so you can finally hear the sound of your own soul resting again. You're not losing. You're being rescued. You're not being abandoned. You're being protected. You're not being punished. You're being prepared. And one day, you'll thank him for every ending. Because what you called loss was really the moment heaven said, enough. Enough anxiety. Enough cycles. Enough carrying what you were never meant to hold. There's peace waiting on the other side of surrender. But to reach it, you have to stop trying to reopen what God already healed. You have to let him be enough. So Brad, You're safe now. What was removed can no longer hurt you. The door that closed is the reason you'll sleep in peace. Tonight, the person who left is the reason your heart will finally breathe again. And the silence you feared is the sound of heaven working. God doesn't remove what matters. He removes what hinders. He never takes without a plan to restore. And every restoration in God's timing comes back refined, not repeated. So today, instead of asking, "Why did you take it away?" try whispering, "Thank you for protecting my peace." Because that's what he's doing, protecting the most sacred part of you. Romans 8:28 promises. And we know that in all things God works for the good of those who love him, who have been called according to his purpose. All things, not some, not most, all. Even peace. One day, you'll look back and realize the peace you have now was worth everything you lost. The silence that scared you was where he spoke the loudest. And the removal that hurt you was the rescue that healed you. Hold on. Peace is coming, and it's not the kind that fades. It's the kind that stays. If this message touched your heart, write in the comments, "Peace is coming." And share this video with someone who needs to remember that sometimes God protects you by letting go.